Well, welcome everybody to day one of the St. Louis Pen Show's Pen Penmanship Expo. Thanks for joining us and coming. Just want to run down a couple things before I introduce Xena. We've got 3 weekends full of great sessions. We ended up with 18 sessions altogether, and we've got all kinds of great guests who are going to come in and show us cool things and demonstrate cool things and tell us some stories. So it's going to be a great 3 weeks. For anybody who may have jumped in the last minute, we are recording this session. So, if you don't want to be in the recording, you can keep your video off. You can use the chat window to type in any questions. And the recording will be available from the Pen Show's YouTube channel in early July. I would ask that everyone stay on mute. There's, always some background noise that creeps in, and it can be distracting. And if we end up with, a large number of people and we get a few people with background noise, it gets a little bit distracting. So, you can come off chat if you want to answer or ask a question. Otherwise, I'd ask to keep the mute on just to keep things as quiet as possible. Yeah, and if you want to see the rest of the schedule, over the next couple weekends and tomorrow, you can hit up stlpenshow.com/schedule, and that's got everything that's up to date in there. So joining me tonight is Xena Colby, one of the co-owners, the proprietor of St. Louis Art Supply, our own fountain pen and paper emporium and art supply store right here in St. Louis. So I guess, Xena, I'll turn things over to you. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I'll let you go. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing here and let you share.
Oh, am I supposed to share?
If you have something to share, you don't have to. You can just stay on video.
I'm here. I'm going to be showing you guys some different things. But yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks to Ken for organizing everything. Actually, quick question. If I get a chat here, am I going to see it pop up, or should I change a setting to make sure that I'm seeing people's questions?
No, you should. If you hit the little chat button at the bottom of the screen, it should pop up in kind of like a floating window for you.
Dun, 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 dun. View full transcript? Chat.
Yeah.
Okay, I should have sorted this out a minute ago.
Yeah, it's just like a regular speech bubble icon right next to share screen, if you have the same setup. Are you in a browser or are you in the app?
It's kind of popping it up just in the middle of my screen instead of actually floating around. Well, I guess that's okay. That's fine. Okay, hi guys. That's perfect. Welcome. You're in the shop here with me, Xena, and our shop is St. Louis Art Supply. You may have heard of us way back when. We opened in 2015 as South City Art Supply, and we were down on Cherokee Street for a few years. And then we've moved up here to Olive Street in the Central West End a couple years ago. And we're loving it. Yeah, I just sort of thought I would give you guys a little. First, I want to just give you a little breakdown of our business and how we've made it through the pandemic. We've pivoted to right now being primarily an e-commerce store. So we're looking forward over the next year to keeping that going, and also reopening the retail store back up with some fresh new ideas in there. And I want to talk to you about fountain pens, of course, but more specifically kind of how we as an art supply store use fountain pens a little bit differently, or maybe think about a few other technical aspects of pen and ink, how they're going to work with other art supply mediums, and that kind of thing. Please, and then finally, we're definitely going to go over a lot of paper. Fountain pen paper is one of our specialties, especially with working on the e-commerce store. We've brought in a lot of new imports. And so I'm excited to show you guys a lot of paper. So yeah, if you feel free to interrupt me. I have the chat screen up now, but I might have to take it down. So if I'm not responding to your text chat, please just interrupt me, whatever I'm doing, chime in. If you have any questions or anything like that, happy to hear it. So I guess, yeah, I'll just give you, I don't like to dwell too much on the past. It's been, been a tough 2020 for everybody. And we're pleased to be moving toward the other side of it. But I guess like right after, at the beginning of 2020, we were here. If you haven't been here in our storefront on Olive Street, it's like this really lovely sunny space, and we had art supplies on one side and a cafe on the other side, Cornflower Cafe. And so that sort of all came to a shocking halt, and we spent the first several months basically just making local deliveries, and we had a huge outpouring of support from our local customers. We were spending most of our afternoons, pretty much every day, every afternoon, driving around to all different parts of the city and county, and just like everywhere we could get to, getting people their art supplies. So it was definitely like heartwarming to have that kind of support from everybody. And at the same time, we were able to get our staff working on data entry to do the web store, because we had like sort of a shell of a website up, because it was always our plan to do e-commerce, but we hadn't really populated it with a lot of products. Sort of just like the basic bare bones of a web presence in that sense. So then, once we sort of realized like, oh, this isn't, the pandemic's not just going to go away in a month's time, we really got everybody to work, really just, doing all the nuts and bolts, like boring parts of it, like every, in an art supply store, you see a colored pencil display and you think like, oh, that's nice. And you start picking out pencils, but each colored pencil has its own barcode and its own color. And it's like all this data associated with it that, once you're online, all of a sudden you have to enter all that into the appropriate fields. So we spent a lot of hours doing that, getting our product list up online. And basically it was kind of a tricky summer. But like the e-commerce store, we were able to kind of push it through, and it really got going like right before the holidays. So that's sort of our pandemic survival story. We sort of managed to like pivot, and everybody's loving that word. I kind of love it too. It is what it felt like. And sort of get the website of things moving just in time to sort of really start basically a whole new e-commerce business and get that off the ground. So yeah, I mean, basically it's really helped us actually having the e-commerce. Like when you have a retail store, you have people coming in and giving you feedback. And of course, that's one of like the primary things that has helped us grow the store and like make sure that we have people are seeing the things that they want to see here. And then when you're serving ads online, you get that data even faster. So we've sort of been able to use like this sort of like increase in scale where, we're talking to people all over the country now. And we've been able to kind of get a lot of information from that in terms of what products people want to see from us, new brands, new imports. Yeah, just like basically it's kind of put us on a fast track almost, just like getting that data even faster and like being able to bring more products in, see which ones work, see which ones people like, keep those around and just sort of continue that process. So we're really excited to import a lot more. We're ordering things directly from Japan, directly from Germany. So yeah, it represents some new opportunities for us. And now that we're going to be reopening our physical shop again, I think you guys are going to see, especially those of you who have been in the store before, I think you're going to see a fresh new kind of take on it. we have a lot to do. We basically overwrote, we kind of pivoted and got stuck in the pivot. So we basically overwrote our entire storefront with this warehouse that's now here. So we have to basically move all the furniture around and like get everything ready again for, you guys all to come in and browse. But when you do, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be really sharp. There's going to be a lot. It's going to be sort of more designed like I don't know. In my mind, it's going to look just like a Tokyo stationery shop, like lots of stacks of notebooks and lots of demo stations and even more opportunities to try out different pens and inks. And yeah, I think, we're more experienced than we've ever been. And I think it's going to be better than ever. So that said, I think next I'm going to move more just like into fountain pens, unless anybody has any like burning questions about our, rise from the ashes. No, everybody's satisfied with that.
One quick question on
Yeah.
history. So before the pandemic, you had a pretty well-established presence, South City, your business was South City Art Supply, and you kind of like picked up and moved and changed your name. And I'm just wondering, what kind of challenges were there? Did you catch a lot of hate from your loyal customers? Oh my God, why are you leaving our neighborhood? What's going on? Talk about kind of maybe a little bit about, the challenges of that and why you decided to kind of uproot and move. And was it, what did it work out as you anticipated, or?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say we got hate. We definitely have a lot of people who still say like, oh, I miss it when you were down here. I miss when you were like in walking distance from my house. But I have somebody else in the comments here who's saying we're just a few blocks away from them now. So, it's sort of pros and cons in that sense. But basically, my sister accuses me of like, why do you keep opening businesses? That's what she asked me. Like, you opened one business and then, you moved the whole business and opened a cafe. And now we opened the e-commerce business. So she's sort of been grilling me like, why do you keep opening new businesses? But really, I mean, the simple answer of why we left the Cherokee Street location is for natural light. The building that we had there just was really dark, and just like with just not enough lighting. And we sort of realized like if we are gonna sort of have this like bright and airy space that we imagine with sort of this open feeling and more opportunities for photography and like Carson's a photographer, so it's always been a big part of our strategy to have really beautiful photos, create a platform where like those photos are gonna work for us. Now online it's really a great fit. Like we're able to present things in a really nice way. So yeah, I think people don't always like to hear that it's really was just like a real estate decision. Like we just needed a different shaped space and just like more room to do what we wanted to do. So yeah, I feel like with business, it always comes down to something more simple than what people really are expecting to hear.
Expecting that answer.
Yeah, and at the time we were really excited to open the cafe too, and that's something that we couldn't have done in our current building on Cherokee. I mean, for one thing, the Mud House was 2 blocks down, so we certainly couldn't have competed with them. They're amazing. So yeah, we wanted to sort of add that extra element to the atmosphere by having the coffee shop, creating more of like a, kind of like more of like a destination where you can like have more of a long sort of shopping trip and feel comfortable and like have that hospitality. So yeah, that's sort of what contributed to that. It wasn't a super easy decision, but Carson and I are sort of the people who like once we get something in our mind to do, it's probably gonna push through and do it.
Right.
So yeah, we're certainly glad to be here in the Central West End. There's, of course, there's a lot going on here and a lot of things here. And everybody over the past 2 years has been just so welcoming and just really, really sweet and taking to, sort of the experience that we're trying to give everybody. Yeah, we sort of as a company, we sort of walk the line, and I'm going to talk about this with fountain pens too. We sort of try to walk this line where, like, we are an art supply company. That's our primary focus. We, even though, like, we are really interested in stationery and, fountain pens specifically, and we've sold books here for a while. So we have a lot of branching interests, but we try to, or we certainly will be holding on to, like, that basic promise of being an art supply store. We were saying our four main anchors are reading, writing, drawing, painting. And that's been sort of our anchors, like, since we opened. So some of those, I think now we're kind of more focusing on painting, drawing, and writing. So reading, that's for granted. We're still going to have some books, but we really want people to be able to come in, find something that inspires them to do, one of those three things: paint, draw, or write. So yeah, I think that's certainly going to stay the same. And I think we'll get better at, and have gotten better at, having the supplies that are going to inspire people, and, like, the supplies that make people excited to come back and see what new things we have and add something new to their kit that's going to really keep them fired up to be creative. Yeah, I think so with that said, like, with fountain pens in particular, we have a lot of the stuff that you guys are going to be really familiar with. We have Kaweco, we have Lamy. I'm going to show you, if you haven't seen the new Lamy special editions, I'm going to show you those in a minute. And we sort of, I think maybe one thing that might be different about us from some of your other presenters, or like a straight pen store, is that we are sort of looking at each pen, like, from these other angles of, what are the technical aspects of it? Yes, I have some platinum to show you too. What are the technical aspects of it? Is it going to work with watercolor? Is the ink going to be water soluble or waterproof? And then, like, most pens, like, even with any variation of those answers, can fit into a really positive art practice. So that's sort of how we look at our collection of pens, is like, how is an artist going to use it? How is it going to be useful with or without other media? And especially right now, one of the main crossover points right now between, like, your more, like, traditional artists and people who are really interested in pens specifically, is urban sketching, which, if you haven't heard about it, Google it. We have a blog up at color.stlartsupply.com. We have a blog post about urban sketching to sort of, like, help you get your first kit together. But basically the idea is that you grab a notebook, grab a pen, maybe add a watercolor to it, maybe add some color, maybe you don't, and you just get out there in your world and just start sketching things how you see, and just sort of, like, feeling. It's nice because it's sort of like a looser feeling, it doesn't have some of the rigidity of, like, some of your, like, fine art techniques that, you might have to do a lot of do a lot of book learning before you feel comfortable, like, that you're doing it right. It's really just about just sketching what you see, sketching with feeling, and just kind of like feeling good about just getting out there and doing what you're doing with a pretty limited tool set, you know, just to keep it light and keep it transportable. So let me see, I do have a couple things here to show you. This is possibly a little kit that I put together just on the fly here. These cases, actually, these are Midori pulp cases, and they're great little pen cases. They're a little bit shorter than like your standard pencil case, so like they don't necessarily hold like a fully unsharpened pencil, but they are great for pens, for shorter pencils, and they're really sturdy, so you can just sort of put the rubber band around it and toss it in your bag. In here, I have a limited sense of gravity, but other than that, I actually have some fine liners in here where, you know, not a fountain pen, but still good for making lines, thin lines with a fixed width there. And these pin ones are great because they come in a bunch of different colors. They come in like sepia, light gray, brown, and the ink in there is waterproof. So you can just sort of make a quick sketch, get it down. And then we just brought in these Gansai Tombi full watercolor pans. So you don't even necessarily have to have a full set. You can just like pick one color out, use it with one pen, just add a little bit of color here, a little bit of color there, and you have a complete sketch, which is kind of nice. We also sell these water brushes, which if you haven't tried these, they unscrew and you just put a bit of water in there and then it works for you for a full afternoon. So yeah, it's sort of just about like, keep it light, keep it easy to carry around, and just, you know, get out there. And I know, like, I see you guys, I follow a lot of you, or some of you on Instagram and things, and I see like you guys are into inks and like swatching the inks, and I see people making these like gorgeous pages where they're like drawing with the inks and like testing everything out. You know, so if you're curious about adding watercolor or just like adding another splash of color to what you're doing, I think you should try it out. So here's a good example of our sort of technical approach. Here are 4 inks that we've swatched out. And I know it's not as neat as what a lot of you do, but again, we're rough here. Okay, so we have, over here we have Kaweco Pearl Black, which is our favorite house black fountain ink. And part of the reason why is because of this color shade. So like as you dilute it, you get this like rich, bluish, purplish gray here, which is just like a really beautiful shade. So especially like if people are thinking about, one technique you can do with urban sketching is to use a water soluble ink like the Kaweco Pearl Black, and then you take the water brush to it and just sort of draw it out while it's still wet, and you can get these like really rich shadows just by adding just a touch of water to the line that you've drawn. You know, but you might not know, certainly from the bottle, you don't know that you're going to get these 4 completely different colors from all these black inks. So that's the sort of thing we try to keep an eye on, you know, try to let people know like what different effects you're going to get with things with different treatments. The Lamy ink you can see is like almost green, which is kind of interesting. And then these 2 here are waterproof. So that's something else that we're always looking for to try to offer to our customers, is a fountain pen ink that is also going to be completely waterproof when dry, so that you can add watercolor on top and other wet media on top of it, and it's not going to run. So these 2 are going to, if I added water, well, now that it's dry, it might not. Well, would it run still? I think it would sort of start to pick up a little bit. yeah, you can see it's like already picking up more. So these two, not waterproof, but a lot of our customers are thinking like, I'm not even going to bother using a pen if it's not waterproof because I'm always going to want to watercolor with it. So we have the platinum carbon ink is this one, nice and waterproof. This one I think is, this is $23.99 for the 60 milliliter. And it's one of the best fountain pen waterproof inks out there, tried and true. And then we also just got in, yeah, we also just got in this whole Super 5 line, which I'm really excited to show you guys. They are a company in Germany, everything is made in Germany. They have several fountain pens in their line. These are, dun, 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 dun. I wrote down notes, but not for the pens. These are not too expensive. They're maybe, hold on, I'm gonna look it up because I hate to give somebody the wrong price. I took notes, but you know, not enough. And they have several different nibs. They have, this is the medium, which is a 1 millimeter like ballpoint. So it has, you know, it's a fountain pen with like the round ball on the end. Okay, $34.95 for these. And we have an option as well on the website where you can add a black waterproof cartridge with it because they also make these excellent waterproof inks. So it's kind of a complete line with this, you know, with this artist in mind who wants to use a fountain pen, you know, wants to use different tips. It comes with, this is the 1 millimeter, and then it also comes with a 0.5 millimeter stub, a 0.7 millimeter stub, and then they also have it in a really nice roller ball, 0.7 millimeter roller ball, which draws really beautifully. We actually, we're not always the biggest fans of rollerball pens. We tend to use fountain pens around here. But we've actually been really impressed with the rollerball, just like how inky it is and how like nice and smooth the ink goes down and how waterproof it is. So this is like one of our favorite things we've brought in this year are these Super 5 pens and inks. And it's kind of nice that it's a full system and it's all really designed really well to work together. So they have the bottles of ink, which are $15.95. They have different colors, which is really unique. Five colors overall. They have red, orange, blue, and green. And they're all, you can see on our website, we have the swatches up there. They're all really rich, nice colors, which especially with waterproof inks can be really hard to find. It's usually, I mean, before this, the only, maybe you guys can help me in the comments, the only other like waterproof fountain pen ink that I'd really heard of or used was the platinum carbon ink, which we also have in cartridges and in the bottle. So yeah, we're excited to kind of bring another waterproof ink in. It kind of meets everybody's needs. It works really well. Some people have commented that the waterproof inks can clog your pen a bit more, which is true because it is a pigment ink. So like most fountain pen inks are dye based, and that, you know, that means that there's actually absolutely like no particles in there at all. So with these, there actually is particles in there, but they've milled it so fine that it'll flow through your fountain pen perfectly. But yeah, it is like a bit thicker ink than your traditional fountain pen ink, like a little bit stickier, and can, if you're not like cleaning your pen out super regularly, it can lead to a little bit of gunk buildup, as we say. If you haven't been over to the blog, actually, we just put out a fountain pen zine, One of our guys who works here, Curtis Tinsley, made a comic for us, which I'm sure you guys are well versed in everything that we cover in this. It's more of a beginner's guide to like taking care of your fountain pen, but it is super cute. There's a cartoon character called Cobalt Violet Light, and she has a little watercolor half pan for a head. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And what else? I think I'm actually going to take this pen apart and show you, because the construction is really nice. This is their orange color, which is my favorite, but they also come in black, white, and transparent. I think it's a really sharp design, you know, especially like it's not an expensive pen. It's a plastic body. It actually has a nice metal clip, which is kind of unique. I feel that they've walked that line really well between making it, you know, durable, affordable, but still designed really well so that you don't have to worry about it breaking on you or, you know, the clip snapping off or like anything going on with it. And actually the section is metal. So it's actually kind of unique to have that plastic body with a metal section. It adds a really nice weight to it, so it actually has a much better balance, I think, than a lot of other plastic pens. Especially, you can not only can you post it, but you also it also stores another cartridge in the back. So then not only do you have a spare cartridge, but it really helps weight the pen. So then you have like weight at the bottom, weight at the top. You add the post over that if you want a little even more weight. And then you have like a pen that's really well balanced. And especially I do think they have in mind to design them for sketching, you know, so like it is really nice to have that really nice balance and flow so that when you're moving really fast, you know, your pen's not going to fly out of your hand because, you know, it doesn't have the proper balance. So yeah, we're big fans of these. Always happy to answer questions about them. Yeah, just brought those in, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. But they're working out really well, and it's, you know, we're always kind of looking for those unique products that are sort of right in between that, you know, art supply and design interests sort of coming together. That's usually what we're looking for. What is here? Any questions on the Super 5 in particular? It really, it's like our new favorite thing. All right, now I think I'm kind of just gonna keep on with the show and tell here. I mentioned the platinum carbon ink, of course, but we also have the platinum classic inks, which are not particularly new. We've carried them for a year maybe, but they're really unique because I think it's actually just what me and Ken were talking about, that people love the iron gall inks, but of course they'll erode your pen, and you know, they're sort of archaic. You know, they're not really doing everything you'd want them to do. So these are sort of a new take on the iron gall with like that really intense shading, and they come in 2, 3, 4 colors. And they're really, I think they're really gorgeous colors. I think they've selected them really well. The citrus is the most popular. I think this might be more like the most sort of, I don't know, normal writing color. It's sort of like a greenish, and then it shades to like a really dark green. When you put it down at first, it's really bright yellow. So it has a really dramatic drying process. We actually have, right now on our Instagram account, we have a video up of the lavender. And you should check that out on we're at STL Art Supply on Instagram. And right near the top of our page is that lavender ink video. And it is really, you put it down and it's bright purple. And then, very, very quickly we time lapsed it, and it very quickly turns this like really dark, like deep black purple. So check that out. Those are always, and again, they're a new formulation. So even though they have some of those qualities of the iron gall, they're, going to be perfectly fine in your pen. They're not going to cause any damage because of that new formulation from Platinum. What else? I mentioned the Lamy special editions. I think I'll get those out. We carry a lot of different Lamy options. I'll come right out and tell you that we don't have the lowest price on Lamy, which I think many of you have already noticed. We used to get a few comments about that in the store. And the reason why is because, or the reason why you should still buy them with us is because we adjust and align all of our pens before they leave the shop. So if you're seeing a really good price on Amazon, first of all, it might be counterfeit because Amazon doesn't check for that. Second of all, they're just shipping it to you straight from the factory. Nobody's looked at it. Nobody's checked it to make sure that the nib is not completely messed up, which believe me, often they are. So we do every pen over $25 in our shop. I wish, I'm tempted to go and get our little, our fountain pen adjustment kit over here. But we have the magnifier, we have the micro mesh, we have the pen cleaner. So we look at every single pen to make sure that it's going to be writing really smoothly. We write with all of them. So before we send it out to you, you're getting that guarantee from us that it's actually going to be a good writing experience. Which, I know they do their best, but every factory has its flaws and has things that sneak through. So I think you guys, buying a lot of pens, I think you that you get kind of mixed results from manufacturers. So we try to be the middleman in that and make sure that you're getting a nib that's aligned properly. So if you haven't seen these, it's the new Safari Limited. This is the Savannah Green. And they're nice because they come with the black nib too. Usually the Lamy nibs are silver, so it's kind of part of their color scheme that they're doing this year. And yes, it's the green, and then I'll get the Terra Red Earth. And this one, actually, I think this is my favorite Lamy edition that I've seen so far. It's their original color scheme. When they launched the Safari pen in, I think it was like in the 70s or something like that, they had a real Safari theme with it. And their idea was that, like, this is your pen that you're going to take on safari, and it's going to, it's made out of plastic, so it's going to be really rugged. And they had it in these colors, which also seemed very rugged and nice. So yeah, awesome. It's always nice, the Safari is such a classic pen. I have one, I use it all the time. I'm sure we all have one. And it's just like, it never lets you down. It's always really comfortable and easy to write with. And I like especially that this one has the black clip and, the black nib sort of tie it all together and make it a little bit special this year. They also have the Tipo has been really popular. That's their like aluminum, or I guess they have a plastic body and an aluminum body. Just sort of a short roller ball. It has the click at the back here. And these are, again, I'm gonna have to look up the price. This is why Carson does a lot of our speaking engagements, because he has a mind like a steel vault and he remembers all the figures and all the details. Okay, so this with the aluminum body is 16. So just like a nice has a little weight to it with the metal, really nice to hold on to, just like a nice casual office pen, good for having by your phone, and yeah, that copper orange is the special limited edition this year. So it's my favorite color that they have right now. They have these in a bunch of colors and we carry a lot of them. But this copper orange, I think, is a bit special. There you go, a couple specials from Lamy. Doing on time, doing pretty good. I think next. Okay. I think next I want to show you the Midori brass fountain pen, which if you don't know about Midori, then you've probably never been to our store because they are one of our favorite companies. They're a really old company from Japan. They manufacture everything in Japan. They manufacture a wide range of products, including pens. I'm going to go over MD Paper as their paper brand, which is the best paper in the world. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But we just love their products. Everything they put out is well made, manufactured to last, especially these brass pens. This is part of their Travelers Company line, which is like, kind of a company within a company. And they're really famous actually for their special editions. They put new ones out every year. They have the Travelers Company notebooks, which are like one of the first and best modular notebook systems. If you've gotten like a leather cover on Etsy or something like that, it's a Travelers notebook knockoff. Because they're just the oldest and the best, and they're just still making stuff at an incredibly high level. And their Travelers Company motto is I'm not quoting it, but it's just all about having things that wear in a way that makes them more attractive over time. So they talk a lot about how their products aren't intended to sit on the shelf. They aren't intended to be in a glass case. Like, they're intended to travel with you. They're intended to be your daily companions. And like every nick and scrape, this finish actually isn't like super perfect. Like, it will get scratched if you're not really careful with it. But that's it's sort of their philosophy, is that like even though something becomes worn over time, it just gets better as it ages. So this is my personal rollerball right now, and that's the original brass that they have all the time. I was telling Ken, I've been using my Travelers fountain pen with the same body for 2 years or 3 years. And I just lost it like 2 weeks ago. I'm really hoping it turns up. But you can see I've been using my rollerball as well. And you can see the difference between super shiny brass that's new versus, this nice patina that starts to wear. I told Ken I just dropped it earlier today and got a big scuff on the side. But it's just all part of it. And that's kind of our attitude with things too. Like, we really like to carry things that that can just be with you, that you don't have to worry about them. They're working for you. Your pen should work for you. So you should be able to take it wherever you're going. So you can see that's the plain brass, and then this is the limited factory green. It's inspired by the metal in their factory. And you can see it's just this beautiful matte, sort of pale turquoise. And this is the fountain pen nib. And I mean, speaking of factory flaws, Travelers hardly ever sends us a nib that's not well aligned. So we still check them, but we've been really impressed, as always, with just the quality of their manufacturing. All of these are, you know, metal on metal fixtures that screw and unscrew. The way that the cap snaps is like really specific within millimeters. And it fits on there like really, really snug. So just the attention to detail is pretty unparalleled with these. And yeah, the green was actually the limited edition last year. So we still have pretty good stock, but they just discontinued the pencil version permanently. So we still have it in fountain pen, ballpoint, and rollerball. And the rollerball actually still takes fountain pen ink. They all take international shorts. So it's really, really handy, really easy to refill. Definitely, I actually just had a guy come by today for a gift for his groomsmen, and he got them all these brass pens. Like, they're gonna last forever, they're gonna have them forever. Yeah, just a really nice kind of heritage sort of product. So yeah, don't if you're tempted by the green, don't wait. They are going to be cutting those off probably pretty soon. It's not going to be a happy day for me. I really love them, but we still have those in stock right now. And then we'll always have the plain brass, which is also incredibly gorgeous. What else? Let me see. I want to keep checking in on the chat and making sure I'm not. Oh yeah, Tash said you can wear it around your neck if you want. Yeah, it has this little. I think it's for those little like baubles that you see in, like, I don't know, Japanese youths. You seem to like put those on stuff like on their phones, and like little charms. That's the word, like little charms that you can attach. But yeah, it has a nice little hole in the cap. And then that actually unscrews too, which again, like everything is just like machined so perfectly. It has a little seal in there. Yeah, and then the clip comes off there. So you could even take the clip out, and then you would have like a super sleek, just like simple cylinder. But the clip is really nice too. Use it all the time. Super, super tough. Great pen. Can't say enough about it. What else? What else? I think that brings us.
Do you know who makes the nibs for the Traveler's pens? Do they make their own, or do they get them from another Japanese company? Or, you know?
That's a good question. Do you know who makes the nibs? Carson's here to save the day.
They're mysterious about it.
They're mysterious about it.
Yeah, they don't say. They're Stamped Traveler's company. They definitely machine the brass themselves. My guess would be that the nibs are probably made by another Japanese, maybe sailor or something. But they, Midori is close to the vest about who their suppliers are.
That's funny. Did you guys hear all that?
Yep. Yeah, heard it. Thanks, Carson.
Yeah, so they so not made by Travelers. I'm trying to show you, they do have the little TRC in a diamond stamp. That's like their claim to fame. And they're famous for collaborating with other companies too. We just saw one of our customers sent us a photo of their limited edition Toyo toolboxes that had like the Travelers company stamp on one of the original Toyo metal boxes. So they do a lot of collaborating with other companies. And yeah, I guess they're close to the vest about who's supplying these nibs. The nibs are really nice. They're actually a bit more flexible than I'm used to. It's just a steel nib, but it has a nice fat ball. They don't do it in different widths. It's just in the one width, and it's like a nice juicy medium. And they do have a really nice give to them. You can get some flexibility of line, which I really like. Okay, I think Oh shoot, we're almost done here. I didn't even do the paper yet. I really got carried away. Okay, well, let's talk MD paper. Midori, again, same company. Their classic MD paper comes in a million formats, and it's the best paper in the world. It's the best paper with pencil, it's the best paper with fountain pen. It has like a very slight tooth to it, which makes it good for both. You can even like do a little bit of watercolor on it, like really light water use on it. It's just an incredibly versatile, useful paper. They make A5 notebooks in all kinds of formats. We have a bunch listed on the site. They make paper pads that are glue bound that you tear off each page for your office desk. A6 notebooks. Their notebooks have this really beautiful cloth binding that like opens really flat. You can see it's like completely flexible, and it'll stay open too. Like it's not something that's going to really bounce back on you. And that's because of their really minimalist cheesecloth binding. And again, they're just always coming out with new formats to do it. And we're going to have their planners later, early fall. They make really beautiful minimalistic planners. They also have these grain notebooks, which I really love. And these have that same great quality MD paper, and they have lined in part and then cream blank. So if you're like the sort of person who's, you know, making lists and then also doing sketches like I do, it's really nice to have that option in one book. Yeah, find the MD paper on our site because it is the best. It is the absolute best. If you're talking about papers that are good specifically for fountain pens, we just got these guys back in, the Apica CD notebooks. This paper is really unparalleled for fountain pen. It's, I think Carson described it as smooth as the ice on a pond. In February, it's like incredibly smooth. And the notebook is really like dense, which I appreciate. It's like has the pages are pretty thin, which is nice with fountain pen paper. And then the weight of it because of that is like really, really sturdy, which I like. So yeah, CD notebook, we just put these up. We were really excited to get these back. And then Clyde makes great notebooks. This is a Japanese company, and they come in a few different formats. This is the A5 stitch bound, and then they have the A6 memo, and then the A6 notebook, and then the little reporter memo there. And this paper is actually pretty unique because it has this white grid on it. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's like a cream paper with white grid inked on it. So that's certainly unique. And then when you write on it, it's sort of, I don't know, it's just like kind of fun to write on for that reason. Like the grid resists just a little bit. So I find it really just sort of, it's just kind of entertaining to write on it when you're writing your boring lists and everything, to just have a little bit of feedback like that. And just a unique sort of design style, you know, something that we're always looking for. If there's anything we hate, it's just boring stuff, right? Have a couple Kikuyo products here. We got the Trip book, which is always super cute, works great with pen. And then we just got in this numbered notebook. So that's kind of a new bullet journaling sort of focused notebook for you. Yeah, like I said, you know, we've really just been increasing the speed on how quickly we're able to bring in new products, how far away we're able to bring them from. So we're just always on the move to try to get stuff that's new, get stuff that hasn't landed in the United States yet. Like we just started a relationship with Schminke in Germany. And that's mainly watercolors, color lines like that, paints. But we're ordering directly from them, and it's kind of opening our eyes to seeking out some more direct relationships like that, trying to get stuff that isn't really seen in the U.S. a lot, and just bring it here to St. Louis.
Numbered notebook that you showed a minute ago. Who makes that, or is Numbered the brand?
This is Kukuyo.
Oh, Kukuyo, cool. Nice.
It says, "Do create fun drawing."
Awesome.
A lot of the Japanese imports say fun stuff on them. This one says, "Choose the paper like you would a good pen." That little fine script there. So yeah, charming. And that's the Clyde. I should have said actually, the Clyde. That's called OK Fools paper, which you might have heard about in different formats. And we have the Clyde brand notebooks with their OK Fools paper in them. So that's like a really renowned pen paper. All right, I guess I'm kind of running out of time here. I do have a discount code to give you guys. If anybody wants to check out the site, you can use PenShow10 as your code at checkout and get 10% off your order. We're doing shipping. We're also doing curbside pickup right now. It usually takes us about a day to turn around curbside pickup orders, but if you want it faster, we can get it together faster for you too if you give us a call. So yeah, just let us know. Call us, email us with any questions. If you want like samples of anything that I've shown here, like let me know what you guys are thinking, what you're looking for. Yeah. Any questions? Any comments?
One question.
Yeah.
I may be just making this up, but I thought I remember hearing that you do some sort of nib work or repair or restoration services. Can you touch on those for a bit?
Yeah, so we are. I think we're one of the only places around that will even look at pens. That's what some customers have told me. What we definitely do is any pen that, which I should have mentioned this talking about our alignment services too. Any pen that you've bought from us will service. Like we'll take it back. We'll do a cleaning for free. We'll adjust it for free. And we'll always do that with the pens that we've sold, certainly, and those are the pens that we're going to be most experienced with as well. But we'll also look at other pens, and we kind of just have an hourly rate, and we kind of just talk those details through with anybody who wants to take advantage of that. But yeah, we're always willing to look and just see, can we help out? Is it just something that needs to be cleaned and sort of, adjusted and sent on its way? Or is it something that might need, something in addition to that? Like we're happy to certainly do at least the first step of service with any pen and just see what we can do to help.
Thank you.
Oh, I would feel silly if I didn't show you our notebooks that we make here. This 302 notebook is the most popular. It's a cold pressed watercolor finish. And this one is actually, it has a little bit of cellulose in it. It has 25% cellulose, 75% cotton. And that blend is actually really good for fountain pen. So this is like our primary urban sketching notebook. And I'll show you, this is actually the hot press version, the 320. But it folds open really easy. This is our design that we make here. And yeah, it's just a great like carry around notebook. It has art paper inside, so you can use wet media on it. And then we have a few other ones for drawing, and you can look at the collection online. But it's one of the only it's like a Japanese croquis book, if you've seen those, that are like designed for students with this wraparound cover. But then we've sort of made it a bit sturdier with this tough spiral. And then it opens really easily. and lays flat really easily. So it's kind of perfect for like walking around and hold it by the spiral. Okay, thanks. I just wanted to sneak that in at the end. St. Louis Art Supply notebooks.
And Alan asked a good question. I meant to ask that before and it slipped my mind, but you mentioned the shop will be reopening soon. Do you know when that might be? Do you have a date?
I don't have a date yet. I think it's going to be another couple months, honestly. Yeah, we're going to have to hire people. We've been working on like a pretty bare bones staff, just like fulfilling web orders. So yeah, I think a couple months to really get our act together. But we're excited. We're excited about it. So we're working toward it as hopefully as quick as we can.
Awesome.
All right.
Anyone else have questions?
I'll just say thank you. That was very interesting.
Awesome. Oh, I see somebody's asking about the cafe. We haven't really made an official announcement. I guess this could be the official announcement. But we're not going to be reopening the cafe because now it's an e-commerce warehouse. It really is like, we can only run 2 businesses at a time. So, yeah, we're going to be doing the retail and we're going to do the e-commerce. But the warehouse, we thought that the e-commerce and the retail would kind of mesh together, but the e-commerce is really a brand new business, and we've had to build it as a brand new business. And now it's taking up the space of an entire business because we've built an entire warehouse, just like by accident. So yeah, so it's not happy news. We're not like, certainly bittersweet. But I think we have to stick with the art supplies that we primarily set out to do, and just keep growing that. Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you so much. And we have one thing that we definitely have are like Midori, like pamphlets and things like that. So like, if you email me at so she's asking about the cute letter sets. I forgot to show you. We just got all this stuff from Furukawa. This is sort of a weird brag, but we're importing so many Japanese companies now. I'm like having a hard time keeping them straight from each other. So this is Furukawa washi. It comes from like the washi tape birthplace. So it's like legacy washi paper. I will tell you now, it's not as good with super inky pens. So, be forewarned. But it is like the original washi paper. And this is just one cute design of maybe a dozen that we have up or like are about to have up on the site. And then we're just going to keep bringing cute stuff in for you guys for sure.
And Brad's got a question. He asked, not to get too far off topic, but will you be stocking pencils to the same extent as before, singles and boxes? And by the way, his son and he both love the Midori pulp storage boxes.
Yes, nice. Yeah, pencils is high up on our list. We actually have, this year we actually brought in Hayuni for the first time. Best pencils in the world. Oh, Carson's bringing some over.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Hayuni. We have them in multiple grades. Mark sheet, just like some weird pencils that, different Mitsubishi pencils that we've imported. So yeah, pencils are happening. We have a lot up on the site right now. And yes, we will definitely continue to bring in excellent pencils from all over the world. Never getting the graphite off of my fingers ever. So yeah, this is my personal favorite, the Mitsubishi 9850 with the eraser there. If you haven't tried high uni pencils, get one. We sell them in singles and in dozens. Get one and try it because it is unparalleled. It's the best pencil that you'll ever have used or probably will use again. Yep. Yeah, the mark sheet is great. It's designed to fill in the bubble on your Scantron tests. So it's like this really like dark, not greasy, but like it's like a really dark black mark.
That's my favorite dozen.
This is the 9852 HB. And if you get the dozen, a lot of the boxes are just this cool. The high uni especially has like a really cool like plastic hinging box, and yeah, very, very much into pencils here. Oh, we also have been selling a ton of clutch pencils. The Kaweco Sport clutch pencil and the Odo Sharp clutch pencil. That one's a little thinner. That's 2mm. And then we sell a Kaweco one that's, I think it's 3.2, and then a bigger one that's 5.6. And a clutch pencil is when you click it and the lead sort of slides in and out. So we have a bunch of those up right now too that people just love for grocery lists. One woman told me she uses it in her race car. It's like her only writing tool that she's allowed to have in her race car. So that's cool. Handy on the go. Yeah, did I say my email address? It's hello@stlartsupply.com. And again, yeah, Pen Show 10. Put that in at checkout. And yeah, we're not, we don't have the door open, but we are here. So call us, talk to us about your questions. Whatever it is, we're here for it. We miss you guys.
All right. Oh, Teresa says you should show off some of those sharpeners since you're talking pencils. I guess the sharpeners maybe for the clutch pencils.
Oh yeah. We brought in, I guess almost a year ago now. Oh, the NJK sharpeners. Yes, again, another company from Japan, manufactured in Japan. They're the leading pencil sharpener, and they make stuff for makeup too, actually. So they're the leading sharpener company in Japan, NJK, and their blades are, quote, katana sharp, which is just a really charming way to describe them. But they are actually deadly sharp. That it's the smoothest. You put your pencil in and the shavings come up like butter. Like it's an incredibly sharp blade. Nice, Carson's here again. This is the long point sharpener. What's the number on it? 531. Don't want to get that wrong. But this is the long point NJK. This is the copper color, but it comes in several other colors too. And it actually comes with an extra blade as well, which is really nice. But yeah, I mean, like even on the cheap stuff, or not cheap stuff, but even on like your inexpensive studio supplies, we're always going to send you home with something that works, something that's well designed. We're not just going to let you chug away with some, terrible sharpener that's gonna, everything that you can get a good experience out of. We're gonna try to give you something that's gonna give you that good experience.
How would you compare that to the Blackwing sharpener?
Oh, I don't think I've used the Blackwing sharpener.
Okay, I just got one, so I was just wondering.
Blackwing does a great job, so I'm sure that it's great. The one thing that I will say about this long point sharpener in particular, because we do carry the Coom automatic long point as well, and that one I think makes a tip that's slightly longer but a little bit more fragile, whereas this one actually has a really nice balance. where it's still a super long point, but it's actually pretty durable. Like you can start it, you can sharpen it and then use it right away. It's not a lot of those kind of like you'll start to use it and it'll kind of chip down a little bit before you really get to the stable part of the graphite. So this one really has a nice balance, I think.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, I got to try that. We've been talking about bringing Blackwing back in. We haven't been selling them for a minute.
They're not inexpensive. I just ordered mine from John Neal, and actually it was reasonable. But here in Canada, you know, $20 is what they are.
Yeah. We used to sell the Blackwing pencils in singles, and then they changed their policy, and they were only selling them in dozens for, I think, up until now. So yeah, we sort of, I don't know. I think we have been talking about bringing them back in because they're great pencils and they look great, and they do those limited editions that are just really fun, and the erasers are great. But yeah, if you want them now, you pretty much have to get them in dozens.
That's expensive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, they're very good pencils. They're very good pencils.
We were able to buy them individually here with our art store.
They're breaking.
So, well, you know, it's art store for the university, so I guess they'll break the rules for students.
I don't think Blackwing has an investigative unit out there. I think, I think it's fine.
Now, do you ship outside of the United States, or are you strictly?
We do, yeah. Our free shipping is just for the inside United States. We do free shipping over $59 for the US. And then internationally, we have options at checkout. So you can see, like, once you have everything in your cart and everything, you can go to checkout and put in your information and get those quotes on different services.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we do a fair number of international orders. So I think our shipping is okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome, guys.
Might be out of
Thanks
question.
so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming and presenting to us and giving us all these juicy updates on the business. And
yeah, you bet. And yeah, check out our website, stlartsupply.com, our Instagram at stlartsupply. Yeah, we have a lot of plans this year. I think we're gonna launch a YouTube channel, maybe. We're gonna open the retail shop. Yeah, and just keep looking for new products. So stay tuned.
Okay. Have a good pen show. See you next week.
Awesome.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
thanks again, Xena. Thanks everybody for coming and appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Thanks for getting it all together.
You got it. Bye, everyone.